Good morning. So 9 months ago, we celebrated the beautiful, miraculous conception, immaculate conception of our Blessed Mother back in December. And now we rejoice at that same intentionality of God working in the life of his own mother through her birth. And the things that we know about Mary's birth come really just from little t traditions, kind of stories passed down from generation to generation, knowing that Saints Joachim and Anne, kind of older, but Mary was their miracle child, and they were able to conceive, and so then they consecrated her to the Lord. They brought her to the temple and consecrated her to God from a very young age. So in her was already this disposition of a yes to God, of an extraordinary love for God, of being given over to something more, something greater. But I think something that we can take a look at today is just how intentional God is in the working in the lives of his people. Yes, she is singular. She is one who God from the very beginning had in mind for this sacred purpose of being his mother. So he worked intentionally in her life to prepare her for that, to be his mother. But she is also the image of the perfect disciple in relationship to God. And we know that that same dignity that she has as a human being, we carry within us as well, as created by God, but then in our baptism claimed by God as his own sons and daughters. So it's his same love and grace and goodness and intentionality that he works in our lives. That he has chosen us. He tells us that he has chosen us. He has thought of us from the very beginning, that we are his. That even in our most awful moments of sin and sadness and despair and brokenness and weakness, he still looks at us and says, "You're mine, and I love you. I have chosen you. I have called you, and I wait for you in heaven as I help you along the way." That each of us carry that sacred dignity and worth, that we are sacred in the eyes of God, precious in the eyes of God, that he tells us that such is his love for us, that in his eyes we are worth dying for, that in his eyes he has claimed it, he has decreed it. We are good. We are good, and we are his. And his mercy is for us. His love is for us. Every single human being carries this sacred dignity and worth, from the youngest to the oldest, from the healthiest to the most sick, from the richest to the most poor. That we can see and acknowledge, and it's a courageous act to acknowledge that and receive that love. But only by doing so, by being reminded of his love for us, that he gave on the cross and gives us in the Holy Eucharist every time we come to Mass. We receive that, and then we can share that with others and acknowledge that in others. That as we go about our work, in our families, driving down the street, we can acknowledge the same intentionality of God working in their lives, the same intentional love that God has for them, that gives them their dignity and their worth as creatures of God, as children of God. And there's just as like the Lord was working such an intentional way from nativity, from conception to nativity, and throughout her life, the same way God works in our lives. We are in his mind even before we are in the minds of mom and dad. And he is working the moment we are conceived, all the way to the moment of our death and beyond.